大家好，欢迎来到颗粒英语课堂。这节课我们和大家一起来学习一下美式英语中的元音。我是你们的主讲老师丽丽老师。
Hello, welcome to Corley English. Today we will cover the vowels of American English. I'm your second instructor, George Corley.
上节课我们学习了美式英语音标，通过学习我们认识到了掌握好每个音标是学好英语的基础。想学好英语就必须先学好音标。然后我们简单的了解了一下当今比较流行的2套英语音标以及它们各自存在的缺陷。基于此，我们介绍了本课程所用的改进版的美式英语音标，也就是语音学博士柯老师根据 KK 音标和 DG 音标的不同版本所整合成的一套音标系统，并跟着柯老师一起练习了一下每个音标的正确发音。这节课我们将和大家一起来更深入的学习一下美式英语中的元音。首先，我们会跟大家一起认识一下元音发音在学习者达到地道讲美语水平的过程中扮演着怎样的角色。然后我们会带领大家从舌位、唇形和舌部肌肉松紧度等几个方面来学习每个元音的发音要领及注意事项。期间，我们会借助美式元音舌位四边形来帮助大家把握每个元音的发音位置。我们还会基于具体的例子来帮助大家区分不同的元音，尤其是中国学生受汉语影响而容易发错的那些元音。在此基础上，我们会介绍一些纯正美式元音的发音技巧，具体的指导大家如何发好每个元音，才能让自己听上去更像美国人。最后的演练部分，柯老师会把每个元音放在具体的单词中，和大家一起练习它们的发音。这个部分所用的例词都比较常见，每个例词也都会附有汉语释义，希望大家在练习发音的同时，也可以学会一些新单词。好嘞，闲话不多说，咱们开始上课吧。I hope you will stay with us and enjoy our step-by-step instruction.
Okay, let's get started.
美式英语说的是否地道，取决于元音的发音是否准确，而想要发准元音，就必须把握好每个元音的发音要领。说到底，也就是把握好发每个元音时的正确舌位和唇形。好多中国学生的美语之所以听上去很中式，很大程度上就是因为受到母语发音的影响，在发元音的过程中，开口度和舌位把握得不够精准。而更严重的问题是，好多学生压根儿没有意识到自己的发音是错误的，没有在系统的学习英文之前，及时纠正每个音标的发音。最后导致发音错的一发不可收拾，一张口说出的英文听得老外是一头雾水，满脸问号。和辅音相比，发准每个元音对英语学习者来讲更有挑战性。一方面，元音的发音要领更为抽象，大多数学习者可以准确地把握好辅音的发音部位和发音方式。比如说，相信大家可以很轻易地发准 P 这个辅音。
P。
发好这个清辅音，无非就是需要紧闭双唇，阻碍气流，然后突然放开，使气流冲破双唇。我们发现这些发音要领都很具体，很容易掌握。而发准元音就没那么简单了。发好每个元音需要时时刻刻精准地把握好舌头在口腔中的位置，因为舌位的丝毫变化会引起所发元音的根本性差异。从零开始学发音的同学们可能会发现自己的舌头从来没有受到这样的关注吧。没错，当我们谈及美式元音的发音要领时，就必须讨论正确的舌位。 舌头在口腔中的位置会随下巴发生上下移动，移动的过程中，舌面和上颚的距离也会发生相应的变化。舌头本身也可以在口腔中做前伸、后缩运动。随着舌头在口腔中纵向和横向位置的变化，我们可以发出不同的元音，包括柯博士在内的语音学家们习惯于用舌头在口腔中的纵向和横向位置来描述具体的元音。So George, as I explained in Chinese just now, it's very typical for phoneticians like you to use the horizontal and vertical positions of the tongue to describe a specific vowel, right?
Yep, we have ways of measuring that.
而对英语学习者来讲，舌头和上颚、唇齿之间的距离和空间大小很难控制，这就是为什么相比辅音发音，元音的发音要领更为抽象，也更难把握一些。元音比辅音难学的另一个原因为，你很难通过单词的拼写来准确判断元音的正确发音，而相比元音，辅音的发音变数会小一些。大家可以来看一下这两个单词，我们可以发现第二个单词的后半部分跟第一个单词的拼写完全相同，但两个单词的元音字母组合 EA 却有着不同的发音。这两个单词的正确读音分别为 read、bread。
Read versus bread. Yeah, that's right. There are a lot of cases like this in English, such as food versus foot, woman versus women, child versus children. Words like these show again that in English you cannot guess how a word is pronounced merely based on its spelling. If you want to master American English pronunciation, you have to become more aware of the qualities of each sound you hear instead of how the words are spelled.
没错，我们上节课有提到，英文中的好多单词的发音都不遵守拼写规则，要掌握它们的发音，就要了解它们的音标，不能简单的靠拼写来推测它们的发音。我们中国学生在学习英语的过程中，最容易犯的一个错误就是通过拼写来臆断单词的发音，导致好多学生虽然有着超强的阅读能力，但一开口讲英文就满口错音。这种现象在美国这边的留学生中也很常见。我在这边读研期间结识了好多硕博留学生，他们的英语阅读理解能力和写作能力超强的，可以用全英文检索材料、阅读专著和出版研究型论文，但他们中的好多在跟美国教授交流的过程中却出现了这样或那样的障碍，究其原因主要就是因为不能很准确地把握英文的发音。
Yeah, I found that too. I have been so amazed at lots of our Chinese friends' reading and writing skills. I mean, they can nearly read and write as well as us native speakers, but sometimes I find it's hard to understand them when speaking to them.
啊哈，所以如果您恰好也有这样的困扰，请一定要锁定我们的课程哦。在介绍每个元音的发音要领之前，我们先来了解一下元音舌位四边形。这里大家可以简单的想象一下口腔结构，靠前端的部分包括嘴唇和牙齿，底部是舌头，顶部是上颚，后端是喉头。舌头的位置会随着下巴发生上下移动，舌面和上颚的距离也随之发生变化。舌头本身也可以前后活动，随着舌位的变化，我们可以发出不同的元音。这也就是为什么我们用舌头在口腔中的纵向位置高中低和横向位置前中后来描述某个元音的发音。如果我们用这个四边形来表示口腔，四边形的左端、右端、上端和下端分别对应口腔的前端、后端、上端和下端。根据发音时舌头在口腔中的位置，我们可以把每个元音在四边形中标示出来。这样一来，每个元音在口腔中的正确舌位就可以通过这个四边形一目了然地呈现出来了。 除了舌位、唇形的圆展、舌部肌肉的松弛程度、发音长短等因素也影响了元音的发音。接下来呢，柯老师会结合具体的单词来带领大家一起学习一下每个单元音的发音要领。
Okay, we're going to cover all the monophthongs, starting with the ones pronounced highest and most front in the mouth, and then move down and backward. I will describe the quality of each vowel based on the position of the tongue, shape of the lips, and the tension of the muscles of the tongue when pronouncing them, as instructor Lily explained just now.
Sure, thanks. Let's get started.
Front vowels.
前元音
First, E is a high front vowel. That means it is pronounced with the tongue positioned high and in the front of the mouth. This is where it is located in the vowel quadrilateral. The lips are unrounded and can be stretched a little bit, and the muscles of the tongue are tense. Please read after me.
E, beat, leak, seep.
As we progress down the quadrilateral, our jaw drops down a little, and so does our tongue. And this leads us to I. This vowel also has a high front tongue position, but compared with E, it is slightly lower and further back. The tongue is a little more relaxed. The shape of the lips when we pronounce this vowel is the same as that of E. Now let's practice a little.
I, bit, lick, kit.
Many second language speakers, including Chinese speakers, have trouble with the differences between E and I. They are both pronounced with unrounded lips. You will hear that E is a bit longer than I. It is also pronounced with the tongue more tensed. As for their tongue positions in the mouth, you probably can tell their differences from their locations in the vowel quadrilateral. They are both pronounced with the tongue forward and towards the top of the mouth. But after finishing pronouncing the longer E, you need to move your tongue a little bit lower and slightly back to pronounce I. Let's go over them again. Beat versus bit. Leak versus lick.
这像柯老师刚才提到的，好多中国学生确实容易混淆这两个元音。大家仔细听一下，长音 E 比较接近汉语中的第一中的重读一，而短音 E 比较接近口号1、2、1中的一。虽然我们不建议大家在学习英文发音的时候在母语中找相似发音，但这里我还是想提一下，好帮助零基础的同学们找准这两个音的微妙差别。
All right, let's go over this one more time. Beat versus bit. Leak versus lick. As our tongue moves further down, we get to E. E is pronounced close to the front of the mouth. With unrounded lips, but not so stretched as with E and I, and a relatively relaxed tongue. Please listen to me carefully and repeat after me.
Bet, let, pet.
As our jaw drops down further, we come down to the low front vowel A. This vowel is produced with unrounded and wide open lips and a relaxed tongue. Please read with me.
Bat, cat, pat.
The distinction between E and A is also very difficult for Chinese speakers, as in Chinese they are commonly treated as interchangeable, but for English speakers, they are different phonemes. E is pronounced with unrounded lips a bit more open than in the high front vowels, while A is pronounced with the mouth wide open. Both of them are pronounced with a relatively relaxed tongue. The main difference between the two is height, as we can see in their locations in the vowel quadrilateral. Both of these vowels are pronounced with the tongue close to the front of the mouth, but is higher, sort of in the middle front area, while a is lower, with the mouth more open and the tongue close to the bottom teeth. Please take a listen and repeat after me. Bet versus bat. Pet versus pat. Let's practice one more time. Bet versus bat. Pet versus pat. Next, let's move on to the central vowels. These are produced further back in the middle of the mouth, generally with the body of your tongue raised to mid-height. The tongue should be mostly relaxed since it's near its neutral resting position. We list 3 central vowels in our system, and Let's take a look at them one by one. First, is the mid-central unrounded neutral vowel. It is often called schwa, and it occurs in unstressed syllables. We will go over stress more thoroughly in a future lesson. It is produced in the middle of the mouth with the body of the tongue raised to mid-height, with unrounded lips and a very relaxed tongue. Please listen carefully and repeat after me.
About, potato, lava.
The second vowel, is the mid-central R-colored vowel, or rhoticized vowel. This vowel is produced basically in the same position as the schwa, but the tongue needs to be curled a little more upward toward the alveolar ridge. We will place it in the same spot as the schwa in the quadrilateral. Different from the schwa, it is produced with a more rounded lip shape. R is a typical R-colored vowel. In American English, a vowel is typically R-colored because of the influence of an immediately following R sound. With this influence, the tongue is curled up slightly during the production of the vowel.
这种变异现象被称为 retroflexion， 翻译成中文也就是卷舌、卷舌音。
If you speak with Erhuayin, the sound will be familiar to you. It's very similar to the sound you would produce in dir or jur.
Yeah, I will say it's kind of like Erhuayin in Chinese, but not exactly the same. 美式很大程度上是在弱读 schwa 的基础上加上卷舌动作，在发之前需要把舌头放在发 schwa 的位置上，然后把舌尖上卷，但需要注意的是舌头不能碰到上颚，而在发汉语儿化音的时候，舌尖要点向上颚的后部，舌尖的背部会轻触到上颚的中部，感觉比美式的卷舌程度更大一些。
Okay, we will talk more about R and how it affects vowels in a future lesson. But for now, just know that is sort of a combination of and
Sure.
Okay, let's do some practice. Please listen carefully and repeat after me.
Bitter, ever, nervous.
Okay, let's move on to the last central vowel, whose symbol we sometimes call caret. Compared with the other two, this vowel is produced with the jaw dropping a bit, just a bit. Different from the reduced schwa, it occurs in stressed syllables. But as with the schwa, it is produced with unrounded lips and a very relaxed tongue.
这里大家要特别注意一下，这个音是汉语中没有的，好多中国学生受汉语影响，容易把它错发成央元音但实际上这个元音开口会更小一些，发音也更短促一些。
Please listen carefully and read with me.
But, luck, cut.
Okay, let's move on to back vowels. These sounds are pronounced with the tongue further back in the mouth, with the back of the tongue toward your throat. The first one, oo, is pronounced high with the tongue back in the mouth. It's similar to the sound wu in Chinese, but usually not quite so far back.
没错，感觉汉语中的乌发音更靠后一些。
It's pronounced with your lips very rounded. Okay, please listen carefully and repeat after me.
Ooh, ooh, Luke, boot, suit, food, kook.
The sound is produced with a lower tongue position, closer to what we'd call a mid-high position, as we can see from the quadrilateral. It's made with moderately rounded lips, and it's shorter and produced with a more relaxed tongue. Please listen carefully and repeat after me.
Look, foot, cook, good, soot.
Chinese speakers sometimes have difficulty with these two vowels, particularly in pronouncing U is pronounced with very rounded lips, while is made with moderately rounded lips. And U is longer with the tongue more tensed, while is shorter and is produced with the tongue more relaxed. From their locations in the vowel quadrilateral, we can see is not quite as high in the back of the mouth. Let's practice the contrast. Luke versus look. Suit versus soot. Kook versus cook. Let's listen again. Luke versus look. Suit versus soot. Kook versus cook. One more time for good measure. Luke versus look. Suit versus soot. Kook versus cook. Aw is labeled as a mid-back rounded vowel. It is produced in the back of the mouth with a fairly low tongue position. It is made with your lips open and a bit rounded. Please listen carefully and repeat after me.
Aw, bought, caught, law.
Ah is the low back unrounded vowel. It is pronounced with the mouth wide open and your tongue far to the lower back of your mouth. It is produced with unrounded lips. Please listen carefully and repeat after me.
Ah, bought, lock, caught.
Here I want to give a special note on aw versus ah. Both of them are produced in the back of the mouth with a pretty low tongue position. Different from other pairs we tried to distinguish above, we don't want to stress too much on the difference between aw and ah, since even some native English speakers treat them as the same sound. You will find that broadly, the further west you are, the less likely it is for people to make a distinction. Whether you distinguish them or not does not matter for native speakers, and saying them the same is just as standard as distinguishing them, so don't stress too much on this distinction. We do want to teach it, as many dictionaries will distinguish them, and you might hear the difference when you talk to Americans.
Yeah, that's probably why some linguists describe the higher aw as an endangered vowel sound in American English, with it merging with the low back vowel ah.
Yeah, merging the two sounds seems to be a trend.
好了，单元音咱们就先学到这儿。下面我们跟大家一起来学习一下美式英语中的双元音。
Diphthongs are complex vowel sounds where your tongue moves from one position to another as you produce the vowel.
顾名思义，双元音是由2个单元音构成的。发音的过程中，舌位和口型会发生变化，具体就是舌头需要由第一个元音的发音位置滑到第2个元音的发音位置，同时口型也会发生调整。美式英语中一共有5个双元音，我们可以用箭头在四边形中标示出来它们的舌位变化。下面柯老师会带领大家一起学习一下每个双元音的发音要领。
All right, the first diphthong is A. A begins with your tongue near the mid-front of your mouth, a little bit above e, and then rises towards I. There is also a slight change in the shape of the lips as they get a little more stretched at the end of the vowel. This sound is very similar to the vowel in Mandarin pei. Please listen carefully and repeat after me.
A, bait, lake, mate.
O begins in the mid-back of the mouth, a little above all, and then rises toward The shape of the lips also changes a bit. You need to close your mouth a bit and make your lips very rounded at the end of the vowel. It is somewhat similar to the vowel in Mandarin kou. Please take a listen and read after me.
O, boat, code, note.
I begins low in the mouth between a and a and rises and fronts toward I. Compared with the previous two, there is a much bigger change in the shape of the lips. It starts with a wide open mouth and ends with a lip shape somewhat similar to that of I. It is close to the vowel in I. Please listen carefully and repeat after me.
I, bite, like, kite.
Ow begins low in the mouth between a and a and rises and backs toward There is also a pretty big change in the shape of the lips when you pronounce this diphthong. It starts with wide open unrounded lips, but ends with very rounded lips. It is similar to the vowel in hao. Please take a listen and read after me.
Ow, house, mouse, flower.
Oi begins in the middle back of the mouth, a little above all, and then fronts and rises toward I. It's somewhat rare, but absolutely important to producing understandable English. There is also an obvious lip shape change in this one. It begins with open, rounded lips and ends with unrounded lips. This diphthong does not exist in Mandarin, so please pay attention to our examples. Please listen carefully and read after me.
Oi, boy, toy, soy.
关于双元音的发音要领，我想再稍微强调一下，希望大家课下练习的时候特别注意以下3点。第一呢，发双元音的时候，2个元音要连贯成一个整体，千万不要断开发成2个音。第二，不要因为第2个元音发音短促而把它忽略掉。第三，发双元音的时候要给足时间，好确保发音滑动过程是完整的。好嘞，到目前为止，所有的元音我们都学完了。建议大家课下多花一些时间，跟着我们的视频反复练习一下每个元音的发音。希望大家练完后可以向地道讲美语的目标再迈进一大步。下节课我们会跟大家一起学习美式英语中的辅音。第3课的具体内容，请大家留意本视频结尾屏幕右上方的课程内容预览。今天的课程就先到这儿，咱们下节课见吧。
See you next lesson. Bye.